I've lost count a long time ago.
We're live. Hi, folks.
Hello.
Welcome to, we think, episode 14 of the GSP team podcast. We're not actually sure what episode we're on at this stage. But sure, look, we'll go with it anyway, and we'll put the right title on it. And if, in case you haven't noticed, me and Ayshea swap sides.
Oh my god! Yeah. And if you, in case you haven't noticed, like we've actually moved, right? The whole desk. But Matt doesn't think, right, that this is actually going to be seen. He thinks that people would think that
they're going to find it weird. I find it weird. I know. Yeah, you're going to find it weird.
The ones on Spotify have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. That's true, actually. Go to YouTube and watch all our podcasts together.
And then you'll see what's wrong.
Anyways, now that Aisha's kind of disrupted the beginning of the podcast, we're on to our first topic, which is measuring progress. Tim gave us that actually. That was a topic from another one from Tim. And we had a good example of that this morning. So, like, I suppose what we're talking about is how do we know we're getting better? You know, like we've said this in the past, it doesn't necessarily need to be more weight on the bar. It can be many things. Like your example this morning was you've a client who sent you a video of basically the exact same weight that they were doing 4 months ago.
4 months ago, squats, same amount of reps. So basically, they sent me the squat video, and the comment underneath was, this is X amount of weight. It felt good, looks awful, and a laughing face. And I was like, no, you're absolutely forgetting where you've come from. And went back to 4 months ago, basically the same weight, same amount of reps. And I sent her the two videos side by side and said, have a look at that, and now tell me what you think you're actually seeing. And she just started laughing. She goes, yeah, I can see it. So the difference, technically, the strength that you can see every rep is fluid. Where she was struggling, she was all over the place, she was stepping forward. So that is massive progress. Technically better and stronger in her position.
Yeah, that's huge progress right there.
Massive.
Yeah, I mean, and people, I think they underappreciate what that actually means, because that improved technique under the same amount of load for the same amount of reps means you're probably going to be able to put more into a max now.
Absolutely.
Because like oftentimes you'll be able to, if you're strong enough, you'll be able to grind out dirty looking reps, you know, when it's maximal weight.
Yeah.
But when it comes to maximal type stuff and you get that breakdown, that's it, you're done. It'll fold you over and you'll fail. Essentially, with, you know, the squat, or you'll just sit in the hole and nothing will happen. But now with improved technique, you can now grind out a heavier weight. So I'm sure when it comes down to max time or heavy time, you know, triples or whatever it might be, she'll probably see the benefits of that, even if she doesn't realize it right now. So yeah, that's a really, really good example. Like, and another thing, like we always say as well, is if you move a weight quicker than you have before.
Exactly.
So say your max is 250 deadlift and you move 220 at, you know, a visibly faster pace than you've ever moved it before, or it feels way easier, you've made progress. You now know your max is higher than it was before. Yeah. You know, and that's it's a really easy way to measure progress, but I think it doesn't validate people enough.
It's strange, isn't it? Because I know, particularly me with deadlift, I suppose I always have this goal in my head to deadlift heavier and heavier and heavier. But my progress for deadlift always was in my head. If I could get it up dirty, the next time I wanted to get it up cleaner.
Yeah.
And
then powerlifting standard is in my head. So going from my strongman to my powerlifting is my progress. And again, it's down to technique. That's a technical improvement. It's a speed improvement. And again, like I said, a lot of people may not look at that as a progress, and it absolutely is. It's massive progress.
That's
huge, absolutely.
Yeah. Even for something like say recovery time in between sets. If you're like you're doing conditioning and you're starting off and you're absolutely dying after a couple of lengths of a sandbag, but in a few weeks you can recover quick and go back into it. Like that's progress in itself there. Like taking
one of the simplest things I have, particularly with regular people, right, in the gym, is when I put them onto the GHR. And 9 out of 10 times they can't even do one GHR.
I think people freak out.
They freak out, right? Yeah. But for me personally, the GHR is probably one of the pieces of equipment that you will see the most amount of progress on.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I explain this to people, once you realize what you're supposed to do, I guarantee you within 3 or 4 weeks, you'll be doing your sets of 8 or 10, and then we're having to add a resistance or we're having to add weight because all of a sudden you're stronger. And you can see that progress quite quickly. Bulgarian split squats. So it's not just like, I suppose, from an athletic perspective, I suppose seeing progress should be in all areas.
Not just your compound lift.
Yeah.
It should be definitely taken into consideration for your accessories as well.
Absolutely.
I think that's people overlook that as well. Like a lot of people just focus on the compound movements, like, oh, that went well, and then they just kind of just like switch off then and just breeze through the accessory work.
Yeah, they just fluff through it, like, and just kind of do whatever, like. But you can make so much progress on your main movements.
I'd almost think it, like with some of the accessories, it might even be harder to get progress or actually get into a comfortable place with them. Like say even Bulgarian split squats. I know even myself, I've seen other people where it's like it's really grindy just to get yourself to that point where you can do them. They're never comfortable.
No.
But when you can do them, like not as bad as they were kind of before. Like they're always gonna be those things that they just suck. Like, but it's actually managing to get through them all, like, and increasing the weight on them as well.
Yeah. It's quite miserable.
It is.
You see the look on your face now.
All the flashbacks.
Yeah, but again, like when I have people who come in who can't do a Bulgarian split squat because their balance and coordination, and after 3 weeks they're now doing a Bulgarian split squat and not having to hold on to a rack for the whole thing. The next thing they're doing it without any support, then they're doing it with weight. So that is all progress, and I think it gets overlooked, but it's a massive. It's where you've come from to where you are now, and it doesn't have to be a compound. It doesn't have to be speed under a yoke.
No,
it's your whole. You're training as a whole. I think, which is not, it's overlooked.
And I think like back to more strongman stuff, like with like specific events. If you load the same stone over the same height, but you do it easier this time, you've made progress. If your farmers improve a second and 20 meters with the same weight, it's still progress.
Seconds a lot.
Seconds a lot.
There could be difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, exactly. And people, I think, need to maybe be more conscious of them improvements as well, because them little wins can keep you going sometimes.
Absolutely.
Especially through them rough periods where you might feel, I'm not getting stronger, but actually, if you look at it, maybe you're not getting statically stronger at a certain lift, but you're getting better as a strongman or strongwoman. Yeah. Overall.
I think as well, like like I say, if you're coming towards the end of your training cycle, and you're feeling very kind of fatigued going into each session. Like I know, like some people, it's like they almost kind of get into a very negative mindset because like they're feeling bashed up and everything, and then the weights are just like feeling terrible. They're not moving as well as they should be, and all that. But like you got to understand as well that like you're in a very, very fatigued state of mind, physical state,
and state of mind,
and state of mind, and state of mind as well. And I feel like sometimes people may have like a weight might be a bit grind in the gym, and then they're going out on the platform then for the actual competition, and like they still kind of got that almost kind of like fear of how it was in the gym that they're not going to be able to do it then on the day. Yeah,
and it's understanding where you're at as well as an important thing. Like
being realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other ways we can kind of measure progress, do you think? So we've got like speed. We've got improved technique. Improved reps even. Like if you do more reps of a weight, it doesn't have to be max weight. Your 8 rep max improves. That's still improvement. Huge, if you can do more sets with the same weight, say you were doing 3x5 with something, now you can do 4x5. That's a volume PR. Exactly. You've made improvements, and that will transfer over in time.
But even again, back to strongman, stones over a bar. If you could only get 1 to that height, but now you can do it for 3. So that's your progress. That's your improvement.
I think as well, like you definitely you shouldn't be using your phone and texting when you're in the gym now, but it is very beneficial actually to record your lifts and stuff like, because I remember I was looking back in the videos from my first competition and like seeing myself with like 100 kilo stone, and I dropped it like I think 3 or 4 times before I even got like a rep, like, and it was just like. Now, and like in my mind, when I look back, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I was grand. I did good in that event." And looking back, I was like, "That was fucking terrible." Like, even other competitions I've done more since then, and just like it's really nice that you can actually see the footage back of like where you were like a couple of months or a year ago. That you're like, "Fucking hell, I've actually come a long way with this." Like, you're never going to notice it in yourself. Like, even if it's a case that you're trying to like maybe lose a bit of weight or gain a bit of weight, like you're not going to. You won't see it yourself. Other people will see it in you before you'll actually get to see it yourself.
Very true, actually. Very true. Anything else on that one? Like there's obviously the maxes, but like I suppose that's where people probably get too caught up on that. I think a lot of the time.
I get too caught up in their own head as well.
Definitely. Because like there's nothing wrong with going a whole year and not moving your max up one bit. Yeah. But in the meantime, you could be improving at all the other things. Your volume PRs could be going up. Your rep PRs could be going up. Your speed PRs could be going up. And that means your maxes are going to go up when it comes time to peak them. But people definitely get caught up in thinking they need to be moving their max up all the time.
All
If you do
it's
not,
just bullshit. Last year I didn't max out my overhead at all in no competition or like in the gym, or I think maybe like went for like a doubles or something like that, but like it just wasn't coming up a competition. So it was just like, what was the point? It was all like log ladders and the block press ladder.
yeah,
But then it was like, what was the need of actually having to go into the gym and maxed out? Like you're just frying yourself. Like
stroking your ego.
Stroking your ego.
And for what?
But like, fair enough. I didn't max out my overhead, but my overhead got stronger as well at the same time. Like just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. Like,
100%. 100%. Especially if it's on your program, because your program is probably set up a certain way to have a waste essentially a certain amount of energy in a certain night.
Yeah.
And if you go off that, you're just frying yourself and kind of wrecking the rest of your week.
Probably.
You both know what it's like to put in a massive effort on a big lift.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very fatiguing. Even if it is just a press, which is probably the easier of what we would do.
Yeah.
But it's still very fatiguing and can really hold you back for a few days after that.
Yeah.
So, just because you can doesn't mean you should is a really good way of putting it. So, anything else you want to add to that one? I think that's fairly comprehensive. I mean, it's...
I think as well. Like if you're somebody who feel like you're not keeping progress, like again, you could with as well as footage, like just keep a diary of like what lifts you're doing, how many weights you're doing, and you could even like write a note at the end. Oh, like this didn't feel that great, or this felt very good, and at least then you can always look back and see where you've come from, and because it's quite easy to just kind of think in your head, oh, I've always been doing this, but like you most likely haven't always been doing that.
Well, I think again that's anyone new that comes into me, whether they're regular folk or athletes, the one thing I tell them is even if they have an app on their phone for reps and whatever, is keep a diary. I still keep a book. Like, we're not allowed phones in training anyway, so every one of us has some form of a logbook. But I will still keep, and I will put in there if it feels shit, or if it felt good, if it moved well. And I document even my dumbbells, because I know in my head I kind of know, but I like to see it that I can flick back. And I've still got all my training logs.
Yeah, it's so easy just to tell yourself, oh, I was doing that last week, when you probably you might not have been.
Might not have been. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is. It's important to be able, to measure progress. I suppose you have to have a track of what you're doing or where you're at exactly.
I think, but it's also very reflective for you to do that, because it's easy to kind of pretend in your head and follow a program or whatever, but you've got a bit of accountability to yourself because if you've actually written it down.
Actually, I have to do this for a few of our lifters now. Actually, I remember I've done it for you before with that Google Doc or Google Sheet. I've put in say bench, dumbbell press, whatever. Your main accessories and your main movements and variations of them. It's got 1 RM, 3 RM, 5 RM, 8 RM. Is that kind of your best 8 or whatever like that?
Yeah.
So even having something like that, so you go right. I'm going at this, and I have heavy 8 to do tonight, or heavy 5, or heavy 3. And I can see what I've done before and try and just chip that. And when it does come to making progress on the big lift, doesn't need to be a 5 kilo PB.
Absolutely not.
2.5 is progress.
Yeah, it is.
Particularly for a rep PR or something like that.
A kilo on overhead for a lot of women is massive progress. And I've seen that over so many years. At some point, the 2.5 kilo is not going to go, but a kilo will get you through that plateau.
Yeah.
Whether it's psychological or physical. Yeah. It just gives you that stimulus.
Absolutely,
It's massive.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
And it's progress.
It's still progress.
Or I've seen as well, some people, let's say they might be testing in the gym, and they might get maybe say 5 kg PB, and it might have moved very well, and they get very confident and maybe even sometimes cocky, and they might go even heavier then, and then they just get absolutely floored. The weight might be stuck to the ground, and then they focus more on that weight that they didn't move, and they don't actually appreciate or acknowledge the small PB that they took, or they might even, as you said, match their PB beforehand, but made it look way better than it had been before. Yeah. So sometimes it is better just to kind of leave it on a good note, and just again, just because you can doesn't mean you should do it. And just leave a little bit kind of just in reserve.
Particularly when you're coming up to comps and stuff, because you don't want to be failing lifts and then losing confidence and just dwelling on that. Yeah, you're better off I think I said before, not knowing how strong you are than exactly how weak you are.
Yeah, I feel like that's where a lot of people are. You do see some people where they might lift more in the gym, where they might do more reps in the gym. And that's just because they're overdoing it in their training session, and they're coming out in the day and their body just hasn't recovered enough. Nobody wants to be that. You don't want to be that guy who's I've been doing more in the gym. It's just no one gives a fuck. No one gives it. It doesn't mean shit. It's all about what happens on the day.
When you go out to win a competition or take a title, it doesn't matter what you're in the gym.
Yeah.
It's completely irrelevant. So yeah, I think we fairly bashed that one out. Next topic then is how to make training harder with limited kit. You want to start that one off?
That was
Your topic.
You
You go.
Yeah, so something that kind of like a few people kind of asked me this because I think especially well, it's still quite expensive to be buying, especially if you've got a home gym, to be buying plates and your own bits of equipment and that. And I do have a few people who do train at home, so I guess one of the first things I always say, ask if they get is like even just using resistant bands, for like deadlifts, squats, bench, all those kind of things. Where adding resistant bands can put on a little bit more tension to the bar if in case you can't get any more weights. Or the other option then you could be just kind of like slow centric stuff, pauses, anything like that. Reduce your rest time or stuff like that, just to actually kind of make it a little bit more difficult if you're limited.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all perfectly valid. Like, I think for me, like one of the things I hear a lot is my gym only goes up to 50 kilo dumbbells, and my gym only goes up to 40 kilo dumbbells.
Yeah,
it's like, well, dumbass. I mean, like, do a slow eccentric.
So,
like the chest pressing 40 reps sound, but now do it with a 4-second eccentric on each rep. Let's see how you get on after 3 sets of that for 10 reps. You're going to slow down very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, and then you've got like the pauses and everything else. I mean, there's so much you can do. You guys are going to have to talk for a minute because my battery's going dead on that laptop, and I need to. It's going to end all this very quickly.
Yeah.
Great preparation.
Super prep. See, we moved the table, and this is what happens. I suppose there's always a ways and a means, and if people are unsure, I suppose be careful of what you're googling because they could be looking to add concrete blocks to stuff. So don't do that. But there are certainly, as you mentioned there, a lot of ways to make your training that bit harder. Bands are a great one because they're so versatile anyway.
I had one guy, he'd get 2 buckets and fill them up with rocks and put them on the ends of the bar.
Okay, so it's almost like
extra weight. They're kind of rocking around and stuff but he would just and they would literally be overflowing with like bits like rock and scrap metal and stuff like that. It's pretty smart because even when I was younger, like kind of living out in the countryside and stuff, I'd even I used to just pick up as many bags of turf as I could in each hand and then just like walk with them. And
just kind of
just do kind of farmer's walk. I mean, like especially if you're living out in the countryside, there's definitely a lot of things you can manipulate to actually kind of just like help with your kind of training and stuff. Like, and again, I'm not like a big fan of like letting novices use natural stones, but if you were kind of limited in that sense, like it could be something. Start off small. Don't go off something that's going to like potentially hurt yourself with.
Back.
Yeah.
I'm out of breath and I'm back. This is what happens now when Ayshea changes everything. So just make sure you comment about the.
Do you know what's coming next, right? It's going to be, as we said, a Netflix 6-part documentary of how I killed him. Right? So look out for that. It's coming soon.
Just picking up on what you said there while I was gone, you were talking about lifting natural stones and stuff. Anyone ever put it's like to push a car? Push a car.
Absolutely.
Even if you have a flat ground, put up a notch on the handbrake. The leg pump you get out of that.
During COVID, we were doing that with the Jeep up and down,
Yeah, we had a flat drive, we were just pushing it back and forth. And it was a grand workout.
Tough but good.
Tough but good, so like there's some really good work there. But so I know what I missed out on, but like
we're just literally that.
Okay. I said the other thing I said was I knew if I used to get buckets, put buckets on the ends of the bar and fill the buckets up with like rocks and scrap metal. Because he couldn't afford any more plates. So it's just like that was
stability work right there as well.
100%.
Like for me, I always go back to slow eccentrics for stuff like that. Because like even like the research does show that like doing really slow eccentrics, you can generate 1.5-2 times more force than you would doing normal eccentric concentric work. So you can get really fucking strong with slow eccentrics, and they can be done with low reps. I mean, if you haven't got much weight, but you do like a 10-second eccentric on a heavy tree squat, like that's going to take a lot of weight off you, but you're still going to be generating tons and tons of force and fatigue and muscle damage. So you will get stronger from that. Now, at some point, if you're maxing, you do need to handle heavy weights. If you're going to a comp as a max, you will just have to go to a gym. But if it was once a week you get to a gym and you only had limited amount of weights, you can still do really, really well with stuff like that. And like long pauses in the whole limit squat or a parallel, and I mean, there's tons you can do there. Like something I haven't done an awful lot with is like max effort isometrics. I think we've spoken about them before, like where you could like in against a wall mounted rack, you could put the pins say at your knees if you're weak at the knees, and you could pull a deadlift bar against that
Yeah.
for max for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that'll leave you fairly gassed.
Yeah.
You know, and it does cause a real strong neural effect, which will help with maxing and stuff. So it's something that's been kind of on my mind, is doing stuff like that for a while.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
And all you need is an empty bar.
Sure,
You don't actually need any weight at all.
Yeah.
You would, if you were doing that with a deadlift, you'd have to strap in because your body will allow you to pull as
much
much as your hands can hold on to. So you think you're maxing, but you mightn't actually be maxing your back and your pulling muscles out. You might just be maxing your grip out. So yeah, it's something else that, you know, it's something else. It's definitely an avenue I would go down if I was coaching someone who had like you, very limited weights, and there's not much they can do. But I don't actually have anyone like that right now, and thank God, because I don't want to have to think about that too much. Very busy right now.
Very creative.
But it is, to be honest, it probably would excite me a little bit to work with someone like that, because it would just be something totally different and make me think differently again.
Yeah.
You know, you can, as a coach, I think we can get caught up sometimes in, you know, we have all our strongman kit, perfect setup, and, you know, or even nearly most people I coach now have, you know, a good bit of strongman kit, which makes your life very easy in a lot of ways. Like, but it'd be cool sometimes to have to do something outside the box, because it would it'd improve your coaching abilities too, because it'd just make you think. And then that thinking with that person, you might go, oh, well, I could use it with this person, even though they have everything, but you might find benefit in it for someone else. So yeah, that's an interesting one. But like I said earlier, there is always the dumbbells. Yeah, always with the dumbbells. I mean, you said it to me recently, actually. You have to get heavier dumbbells. Like, these rows are too light. I was like, well, fucking do it 4-second eccentric and pause at the top.
Get
out of here, man.
Handles?
Huh?
We've got Olympic handles that you can load up.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing those.
He's lazy. He doesn't want to do it.
Oh my god! Like Olympic handles there that I bought, and no one actually uses them. They're gathering dust.
You kind of forget that.
Well, I load them up to 100 kilos and leave them there.
But there's always a way, though. There is always a way, you know. You get anything else to add to that one, lads?
No, I don't think so.
No, like, what about strongman? If you're limited kit, what could we do to make things harder? I've actually seen people, just to expand on it, I suppose, a little bit. I've seen people with Atlas stones taping plates to them. Wow. You know, if you had an Atlas stone, maybe if you only had one stone, tape a plate to the bottom of it, I suppose, and you could still do some picks, or would you tape to the top of it? It's hard to know where to tape it, actually.
Maybe
I don't know.
to the front side.
Yes, actually, to the front side.
Well, no, then it's going to smack in the face if you're going to lift it up. Like, that's...
You could do heavy picks, though, and you could do some stuff. You'd have to be careful, but I have seen it, like.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
She was like, well, when we had the block, when I was getting ready for the block press, we just taped a 20 kg.
Taped a 20 kg plate around it. It's kind of doing what you can, like.
Yeah. Again, if you had a ratchet strap or something like that.
That'd be better,
Yeah.
So get some tape and some ratchet straps and start sticking weights on things, is what we're saying.
No, don't do this at home, kids.
But much to your point as well, I don't know, someone else setting up a bit of a strongman setup, like in Mark, actually. He was going around collecting natural stones and stuff.
Oh, his poor car.
But you can get strong using stones, you know?
Exactly.
I've even heard like some people just kind of like old into like just for having around the place, even just getting like barrels of water and just carrying them around the place, like, and just like, and these people, like, these people are just doing it just for the fun of it. It wasn't even for just general training. Like,
but even like that, the gallon drums that we the gallon drums, the white ones with the handles, 5 gallon drums. You can get them cheap enough from the hardware shop, and like that, fill them with water, fill them with sand,
carry them around.
Yeah.
It's a awkward. It's a farmer's walk. You could use them for picks. You could use them for everything. Like, so it's so handy. You don't have to have. And again, I think even if you think back to lockdown, it was people were improvising.
It is actually about getting creative. And I mean, like, just thinking back to lockdown, it just came to my head before you said it there. I'm looking at that barbell. Stand side on with a barbell and do a javelin press.
Oh yeah.
Javelin press.
I still actually, I never used it before lockdown. I was like, right, we have limited equipment, people. What can we do? So javelin press for overhead. If anyone doesn't know what a javelin press is, it's you take a barbell, you hold it in the middle, you hold it to the side like a javelin, and you just press it out. Really good accessory for pressing. I still use it for people, particularly when they're getting ready for a show that has a dumbbell in it. It's a really, really good movement. So you can get a little bit creative with stuff like that. And again, with a barbell, you can do a meadows row. You can put it in the corner, and you can do a row with it. So you don't need a landmine necessarily. You can just stick it into a corner and put a bit of carpet or a mat around it so it doesn't damage the bar, and roll that yoke. You know, there's an awful lot that can be done if you just think a little bit outside the box and get creative. So yeah, Nothing else you want to add to that one?
No, I don't think so.
No. Interesting one all the same, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's good to see the things that people come up with.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I see some people and they're like, what the hell? Like, but it works. Like,
Yeah. David Keown, we all know who he is.
yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, his Instagram handle is now Indiana Stones. And he's the guy that's going around Ireland lifting all the natural stones and seeking them out and creating. Is he creating like a directory where to find them, or?
Yeah, there's a lot of work being done. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you message him, he'll probably tell you where any of them are.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he lifts with a barbell at all. I know
I've never seen him use a barbell.
No, he trains.
Kettlebells.
Yeah, he's a former world kettlebell champion, world record holder. So kettlebells was a sport. But he trains seemingly out the back of his house only lifting natural stones with kettlebells on top of them.
Yeah.
He has a selection of stones and a selection of kettlebells, and that seems to be what he does.
It's cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know if the man lifts a barbell at all.
No, I don't. I haven't seen him.
No, I haven't either. I'm going to guess that he doesn't. No. Must ask him actually because it's interesting. And he's strong.
Very fucking strong.
Yeah,
very
strong. Strong dude, you know. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. So yeah, on to this is kind of a section we said we'd try out this week. Something we might bring in a bit more regular. Strongman use.
Yep.
So I suppose the first thing that everyone's talking about at the moment is Thors and his pec tear.
Yeah.
Pretty nasty.
Yeah, very
traumatizing. Yeah.
You listened to the YouTube video, right?
Oh, yeah,
rupture.
Rupture. So yeah, kind of like tendon off the bone. So surgery to get that reattached. He was lucky it wasn't muscle off tendon, because you're fucked if you get that.
Pretty fucked.
Like if anyone knows, if you get muscle off tendon, like it'd be like trying to sew mincemeat back together.
Yeah,
like you can't do it. Like
so,
you're always better to actually tear the tendon straight off the bone. Yeah. It sounds worse, but it's a much easier. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be deformed with that kind of with that muscle area. But I mean, like he was, what 2 years out of strength sports. I know he was still training and everything, but he got very lean for that boxing fight, and I think he was 10 weeks getting ready for this powerlifting show, and like he got strong very quickly.
Yeah,
and I just think it was a bit foolish to try and lift so heavy so quickly.
I agree.
I mean, it'd be different like if it was continuously had been training heavy all this time, and he took 10. If you took Thor before he took the break, and he gave him 10 weeks to get ready for a powerlifting show, fair enough, because his body, his tendons, ligaments, and all that, it's used to it. Like, but especially when you're looking to enhance yourself so quickly. It's like fair enough, your muscles may get stronger, but your tendons and ligaments, they're not going to get that strong that quickly. Like.
And because he was there before, he was that strong before, his body remembers it, and gets strong very quickly. But he's a couple of years there, or 3 years, I think it is.
Yeah,
we were saying the last, as far as we can remember, the last heavy lift he did was the 501.
Which was 3 years ago.
During COVID.
Fucking would have been 3 years ago.
So there's probably over 3 years there of not putting much heavy strain through that pec and that pec tendon. Next thing you know, he gets incredibly strong really fast, nearly back to where he was beforehand. The pec gets strong, the muscle gets strong, but the tendon didn't quite catch up.
No.
It's likely what I think happened there. It's just like you said, just too much too soon. Tendon couldn't handle it and just went pop.
Yeah, I think as well. Like he was a strongman athlete. Like you're not really benching in strongman. Like so, if he was like a power lifter who took a bit more time, who took time off and went back into it, maybe his pec would have had a better chance of actually withstanding that weight,
because he would have been trained.
He would have been benching for years. But for strongman, it's all overhead. So I feel like you got like a double shock then on the pec, because it's not usually trains in that way, and then like it's all of a sudden coming on very quickly, and it's just.
Then again, looking closer to home, and I'm sure you won't mind me chatting about it. Eamon Harford,
ruptured his
pec.
Yeah, true.
He's been powerlifting for years, and it's kind of a similar situation where he was having trouble with his shoulder for years, and he for a long time he couldn't bench the way he wanted to. He was he'd often done meets and like benched 160, 150 as token lifts, and then just went on to a massive deadlift after a big squat. Whereas this time he was actually getting back to full strength, and he was making the 200s, and last heavy bench session it just went pop. To me, it's kind of similar, to be honest. But he was a previous powerlifter who you would think conditioned it, but he got strong again very quick in that movement. And I would suspect that when that happens, pec tendons don't seem to like it.
No.
Like maybe you get away with it with deadlifting and stuff, but That's such a small muscle in the grand scheme of things. Considering you're putting like Thors putting over a quarter of a ton.
Yes.
Through that.
252 kilos.
That is insane.
Huge. Yeah, especially you're 30% stronger decentrically than you are eccentrically. Like so. Concentrically. So like if you're, you know, doing a lift and it's coming down and it's really fucking heavy, you know, likelihood is it's not going to go back up. Yeah. Like that's kind of the reality of it.
It's unfortunate though. Like
it is
so
hugely, I know he wants to plan to break the powerlifting world record at the end of the year. So he was supposed to do this competition and then do another one in July or August and then break the powerlifting record in October. So
that's all out now.
In my but like in my mind, I don't understand why like if you're going to do another, if you're going to have 3 shows and do it on the last one, why go so all out on the first one? Like his squat was 441. It was a bit high. It moved quick.
Oh, yeah, but like
it was high. Like, but it was just like it's like if you knew you were going to do three shows, why go all out on your first one after being away for so long? That's what I'm struggling to understand.
Well, it's kind of like we were saying that it's almost an ego thing.
Yeah,
I think at that stage because logically there was nothing to be gained from that meet.
No, nothing. It was in his own gym.
In his own gym, like surely the sensible thing would have been to do token lifts, have an idea of where you're at,
get a feel of it, like get the body going again,
like it's all very well saying sometimes, oh yeah, you know, you're in the throw of it and you're going to max out and whatever, but he's a professional. Like he's not just a gym bro.
So maybe just hitting like 420, 240.
That's what, like it's 240, but like even like his 240, I was like 230, 240, and then with 252, I was kind of like, he sure just left it at the 240. Like it was a good lift, but like you could kind of see there was a little bit of a not a slowdown, like, but he didn't have as much more in him. Like even if his tech poor, even if his pec didn't tear, I don't know how convincing that 252 would have been. Just going by,
or even if it would have actually
impressed. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, like what would have been much of a lift.
But maybe that's why it tore. That's overreaching, and it just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, too much.
You know, that could have been part of it.
Yeah, so that's why I've been trying. I can't really understand why go all out after just 10 weeks of training. Like.
Yeah, I like look again. Everything we're saying here, essentially, it's speculation, but it's kind of educated speculation at the same time. You know what I mean? Based off what we know, what we've seen,
based off the tears that some of us have.
You know, and sometimes people are just unfortunate. But it does seem way too much too soon. That's my initial thought, and I can't seem to get my head around that thought. That seems to be the only way.
Yeah.
So unfortunate though, but hopefully, like he could be done with powerlifting now. Like he might never be able to bench big again.
Yeah.
So hopefully, just push him back in Strongman.
Yeah.
Because he might get away with overhead pressing, but not bench pressing heavy.
Yeah.
So then look. I want to see him back to Strongman. I don't give a shit what he does in powerlifting. We need that freak back in World's Strongest Man. Like so, although he mightn't do that, right? Am I right saying he mightn't do?
No, I think like the Rogue. I think that's kind of like the Rogue and the Arnold is like his main focus. Like,
it's a shame. It'd be cool to see him at Worlds.
I don't know what his relationship's like with. I know the ones like the Worlds don't have a problem with him, like, but
he seems to.
I think it's more so that the problem is with him.
Okay.
Again, that's speculation.
Speculation, not saying anything dead out. Like.
So you're telling me that he doesn't like? No. I won't go there. No. Okay. So, and speaking of World's Strongest Man, people, it's this weekend.
Yeah. Wednesday.
Starts
Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
Live draws tonight.
The draw is tonight for the groups, and we know the events.
Yeah.
And then it kicks off tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's short turnaround for knowing the groups. What does it matter, I suppose?
Yeah.
I mean, there's either way they have to go kind of balls out for the first few events, don't they? And then see what they can conserve from there. So who are our favorites, lads?
I've talked about this a lot the last few days. Like it's definitely one of the most diverse World's Strongest Man finals. I think not even so much just from the nationalities, but I just think with the level of competitors that are actually in there.
I'm going to get the events up here as well. Just so
I don't know if most probably seen the Arnold Classic. Tom definitely was not in a very convincing place for it. His training definitely has looked better the last while, but I don't know if he's going to win his comes. He had a 10-point lead last year after the last event, and he only won one event, which was the Stones.
That's insane.
It is insane. Like, but I don't think he's going to have anywhere near as an easy time this year. Especially when you look at the events for the finals, like I mean, like I'm looking at here, fingers, deadlift for reps, shield carry, max dumbbell, vehicle pull, and atlas stones. Like looking at that, like the first thing I think is like, I know it might be a bit optimistic, but I think they're really good events for Brian Shaw. And maybe it's just nostalgia, like wanting his last one to actually win the title. Like,
what's the story with his leg?
What is the story?
Oh, that happened. That
in
happened.
January,
that
wasn't
happened back in January.
So
Yeah,
he's fine.
He's fine. Yeah,
So
he's fine. He's
basically-
over there and everything. Like, yeah.
It just seems
But it's
that
not going to affect.
No,
what he said.
not at all. Because like I know from what I know, all the American athletes all came to Brian's gym and they've been all training with each other for the last couple of months. Yeah. Just because like
Just to be like, fuck Tom, we're going to beat him.
I think so. Like I know because even like watching like his interview with Brian, if you Trey, like, and Trey was like, I know the reason you brought me out here was to push you, like, because Trey's definitely one of the most up and coming athletes out there, like, so. But it's worked well for all of them because there's like Trey, Bobby, Kevin Ferris, and Brian Shaw all train together, like, and it definitely helps when you're kind of training around people who are just as stronger than you, like,
Exactly.
especially you probably know yourself, like when you're just kind of training. But not we all with our group we have training partners now, like, but when you don't have somebody who's at your own kind of like skill level or like lifting the same weight as you, it can complacency is something that you've really got to battle with all the time. Like you do not want to let that kind of sink in. Like I know myself, I'm always like mentally imagining somebody, this big massive fucker beside me who's lifting more weights than me. Like that's kind of like
I always just say that was like the girl who's training away in the cave.
Yeah.
That I don't know about.
Don't know about. Yeah.
This is why I take the notes of social media and things.
Yeah.
So having that kind of to push you on.
Yeah.
But if you do have people stronger around you,
yeah,
or who are mainly they don't have to be as strong as you, but they're
close.
still
Close, yeah.
Not even like they're pushing. Like look at Mary.
Yeah, that's what I was just.
So you literally
the best example.
Like you can literally kind of go like if I see that Mary was pushing X amount of dumbbells, I'm like, I have to be doing 5 kilos heavier.
Same as that.
So having those people around, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for all of them because wherever the strengths are.
And I do think that's important. I think we're going to have to talk here, but as a team, like you mightn't have to be around people that are at the same level of strength as you are.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at someone half your size doing close to the same weight you are, you need to put your finger on your ass and really, do something better.
100%, like.
Back to what we're talking about anyway.
Yeah.
So you think?
I think they are good events for sure, but I mean, I really feel like this is anybody's game because between like Mitchell Hooper, Tom Stoltman, Novikov, who was the other one I had in mind? I can't remember the other person. It's 4. Yeah, Lisis isn't doing it this year, is he not?
No,
he's not.
Pablo
Kordiaka.
Yeah.
That was it. Pavel Kordiaka. Yeah.
That's the one who
I think he's a real dark horse in this. Like, just winning Europe's Strongest Man, like very comfortably as well.
Ooh, just looking at the events too for Pablo.
If you take that into account,
depending on the group he gets, he could make the final relatively easily.
I definitely think so.
And then the problem with Pablo is he's probably going to come last in the deadlift in the final.
Yeah, he was like he came 8th. He came 8th in the Europe's for reps for deadlift for reps. But it was because Novikov didn't get the last stone. That's what kind of really saved him. Like,
that's the only thing.
Yeah, because he won 4 out of 5 events, became 8th in the deadlift, and I've seen Mateusz Kieliszkowski win 4 out of 5, becoming like 8th or 9th in the deadlift, and then still coming second. Like,
so. It was the fuck up by Novikov on the stone. Whatever it was, kit failure or anything. But it's that complete meltdown on the stones is what saved Pablo. Like, because it was Novikov's to lose. Like,
it was. Yeah, it really was. And of course, Mateusz Kieliszkowski is back, but it's kind of how confident is he feeling in himself?
Looking at him, Arnold's.
Yeah, he's very hesitant.
Yeah,
he's very hesitant.
He is, and rightly so. You've come back from that injury.
Yeah, I don't see him as a contender this year, to be honest.
It'd be good to see him out there, but
for me, looking at the final events. And fucking Trey
Mitchell as well.
There's no grip event in the final.
So the fingers might be a bit of a tricky one for him. I think just with his builds. Shield carry, I haven't really seen him do any moving.
Yeah, that's
you do kind of those guys with a bigger belly, like not even like not saying they're fat, like, but if you got like a very kind of like a big power belly, and you got to hold a shield out, it's much kind of further away from you. Like it makes breathing much harder as well.
Yeah, so like I'm looking.
They're cool events though.
They are.
Like the max dumbbell is going to be very interesting.
I think that's that could be Tom's Achilles right
Yeah,
there.
I think so. Yeah.
Because you're looking at them events. Tom could win the Fingals. He could win the deadlift.
I don't know.
He'll be
Depends who's in the final.
Who's in the final?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if Bish makes it, you're probably going to
Bish,
say Bish
yeah,
has
or
it.
like
Hooper.
Mitch
Yeah,
Hooper, like,
Hooper, yeah.
He could win the shield carry though. He could win the vehicle pull. He could win the stones. Like there's 4 there. Like you could possibly
put him down. So like,
and then Max Dumba, then he could be shit.
Yeah.
He's not listening to this. It's okay.
No.
Tom
And
could
if
be
you are,
shit
sorry, Tom.
at the Max Dumbbell.
Tom, if you are listening, leave a comment because that'd be great.
Yeah. And share the podcast.
Share the podcast.
Like and share. Yeah, look, a lot of it could depend on who they get in their groups as well, how much they have to waste, how much energy you have to waste in the groups before getting to the final. There's so many facts. I think after seeing the groups tonight, it'll be easier to
have an idea.
To have a better idea. But I don't know. I couldn't even pick if I had to pick a podium in no particular order, I'd have Tom, Novikov, and Hooper on it. No particular order.
Yeah. I can't agree or disagree with you, to be honest. Like, I can't even.
No, if it's going to your head now, let's pick. Come on.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Of course, I'm right, Cilléin.
But like, again, there's still so many other variables that could just like
so many. There's
like it's definitely going to be one of the most interesting World's Strongest Man finals.
Yeah, but like again, if I had to pick now a potential podium in no particular order, that would be my.
You go to. Yeah. I won't be surprised if Mitch Hooper win it. Like he said, such a blind.
I'm thinking definitely. Hooper's definitely up there for me.
Yeah, I think so. Like, especially those events, like they're all very good for him. Like
absolutely.
He just is his all-round performance. His
no weak event.
His approach, his mindset, everything.
Yeah, I haven't seen him do a weak event. So, it might be something in this that he hasn't done before. I might catch him out, but as of yet, we haven't seen any form of weakness in the man.
Have you any predictions as far as who you think might win or who?
I'm going with Hooper anyway for
the win. For the W.
For the W. No, I'm not going to go in any particular order again. Hooper, Tom, and I have a dark horse there for Pablo.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, I think he's. I think
can't knock the man out. Like,
I just think his deadlift is going to. I think in the World's Strongest Man final, you can't have an event that's that bad.
You need to be top 5.
That's the only thing that for me that's putting him off the podium. But he could win so many other events, so it could prove us completely wrong.
And it depends on what, like, because there's a lot of good deadlifters who might not make it into the final. Like, like Rauno, Bobby Thompson, and a few others that, like, Bishop, yeah. Depending on what kind of groups they kind of get into, like, so that is always a variable. Like, if the good deadlifters don't get in, Pablo's got an amazing chance. Like,
actually, that's a good point.
Yeah,
if some guys that aren't the best deadlifters get in, and he can maybe sneak ahead of 2 or 3 of them,
and that is where
that's where the thing comes in. Like,
I'm looking forward to seeing the groups now. So
yeah, same.
I'm actually quite excited for that.
Good.
Very interesting stuff.
Like, I won't mind seeing Tom win 3 in a row, but then at the same time, I'm kind of like, I still think it was a very silly thing to take the 6 months off after winning Worlds last year, and it's just like you don't want to be kind of seeing that in somebody like when at the top just to like think I don't know like.
It's not necessarily a good example to be setting.
No, it's not, and I don't know as a case like
guys coming up. I don't think.
No, because I know the two of them, and like, was it a case that like, oh, I've already won this twice, like I can take the foot off kind of thing. Like, was that kind of mentality?
I don't know.
Which like I know you want to like like other kind of like family stuff and everything like. But,
and I think that's another thing though. We were talking about this before in another podcast. Like sometimes you have to make a choice. And maybe his choice was okay. I need to take this 6 months off. I'm still in the peak of my career. In the great scheme of things, it may lose him this WSM, but there's nothing to say now. He's taken that 6 months that he'll be back on form for it for next year as well. Like you really just don't know. And
I think he's, in fairness, since the Arnolds, his training looks like it's come on
a lot better. Yeah, a lot better.
It'll be interesting. It will be interesting. It's good to see change.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good to see change.
It is good to see change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I just want to see Tom win something else that isn't World's Strongest Man. You know what I mean? Like
to prove that he's
I feel like I really do. I feel like with where Strongman is now, I feel like you've got to win all the big titles. You can't just be winning the one. Because like when you look at Worlds, like it's like with Worlds, like you've got so many hours in between each event, and it's really kind of spread out. Whereas like, you're a lot more well rested in between events. Like whereas like you look at like the Arnolds.
That's fairly fast, wasn't it? I think well, it's not actually.
Well, it's a
but
couple of hours between
yeah.
some of the events. But
Except the
in
women,
Wales.
didn't they? The way.
no,
Oh,
yeah.
in the Arnold's, yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit, yeah.
It's a different type of show, though. It's very heavy.
Yeah, very, very heavy. Or even like with the Rogue Invitational, like
Yeah.
definitely still not as quick, but it's not as spread out as say Worlds would be.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like if you really want me to prove it, you've also got to be winning those kind of fast-paced shows.
I think
And,
so too.
I know he's won Britain's twice, but there's been plenty of times where he's done like a regular Giants live show and has either like kind of pulled out or
He hasn't won Europe, has he?
never won Europe.
No.
No, Luke did.
Luke did, yeah.
Luke did. Like, but I have seen him, even just doing like the regular Giants live shows and making the podium, but still kind of getting beaten. And it's like if you can't win, if you're doing 5 events in a row and you can't win those, it's like, are you really that great of a strongman?
Yeah.
And I'm not like Tom is like I'm not saying he isn't a great strongman, but I feel like you've got to be able to prove it in that sense that you got to be able to do the 5 events in the one night, and you also do it when they're kind of spread across a few days.
Yeah, and the Arnold's, which is a completely different type of show, very heavy, very
heavy.
static as
Very
well to a
static, very
degree.
static, yeah.
I think again,
Yeah.
you'd want like Zadrunas has won them all. He's
more,
one
yeah.
of the greatest we've ever come across, and everyone
Yeah.
accepts that and agrees with that. But he's done everything.
Yeah, it's like if I was to pick between Martin Nicis and Tom Saltman, I think Martin's is far better. Martin's he's won everything. Like there isn't a show that he hasn't won.
Yeah.
Anything he can win, he has won. And like I know like Tom's got more. He's got 2 World Strongest Man titles, but like Martin's has done way more, accomplished way more.
And Tom and Luke always talk about leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
And like I suppose if you really want to leave a legacy in strongman, well, depending on I don't know what kind of legacy they want to leave.
But again,
But
it's a personal decision.
If it's a sporting legacy, as in like you want to be remembered for being a great strongman, a great competitor, then I would agree. Yeah, you should be winning everything. Everything.
Yeah. The same with Novikov.
No, maybe his legacy is leaving kids behind. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as well as that, it's the understanding of the people around you, because unless you're in the strongman community, right, you wouldn't think of it that way. If you're a regular Joe Soap in an area or in Scotland or wherever you are, being class world's strongest man, there is no other greatest accolade because you're the world's strongest man.
But is like being recognised and respected by your peers essentially not as important?
Depends on who you are.
Yeah.
I'm just devil's advocate on it. It depends on how you view a title.
That is true. It's true. You have a point.
Thank you. Thank you.
For once in your life, you have got a good point.
Again, that 6-part documentary on Netflix of how I killed Matthew. Keep an eye out.
Matthew. So anyways, closer to home. Strongman News, we've got Laura Vogeltang's charity fundraiser this weekend.
American Poo.
And we've got the Ireland's qualifier as well up in Derry.
Right.
Yes.
You were like, what comp is that?
I have no idea what qualifier.
On the same day.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but sure, look, what can you do? I suppose we'll all be at Laura's comp. Are you going to that soon? No. You're very selfish.
Loser.
We're going up to Laura's comp anyway.
Yeah.
And there is some big strongman lifts going on. As
There
far
is,
as I know, James Hickey is going for the Irish deadlift record again.
Very good.
Right?
Exciting.
Jack is going to do something big. Like he's looking at 400 plus territory. Jack Arkin.
Wow. Okay.
Assuming he's still doing his training. So Blaine Donovan's doing a big max deadlift. So like these are all not part of the competition. They're all exhibition lifts. That people are doing just to. It's kind of as a support for the competition and all that. But it's going to be pretty cool. There's going to be some big lifts going on there, and I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who else? Am I missing anyone there?
Kayla.
Kayla's actually competing.
Kayla's competing.
Kayla's going to be a part
Kayla
of
will be
it
very
for a day.
upset if you don't actually.
If I don't mention her.
Yeah, she gets upset.
Kayla who?
Yeah, our Kayla is lifting as well.
But she's actually competing. I'm talking about
Is,
the exhibition lifters, and I think it is the tree. There was supposed to be Eamon, Thors Pec.
Yeah.
Oh, not a strongman actually, but what's his name? Ireland's strongest coach.
I can't see his face.
This is very bad. Jake Brennan.
Jake Brennan.
Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, he's supposed to be doing a max deadlift as well.
Yeah, I think he's using straps.
He's using straps. Yeah, well, that's actually nearly more exciting because
I think so.
Rip
Yeah.
always goes.
He's coming to the dark side. Powerlifter using straps.
Yeah. I'd like to see what his actual deadlift is like.
Yeah.
On his grip, like.
That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And if anyone is interested in donating into the sport, like our last podcast was talking about, Laura's actually doing this as a fundraiser, I suppose, for going to the American Pro. And It's part fundraiser for the family of a guy she was coaching who passed
That's
away recently.
correct. Only Friday, I think.
Yeah,
Very
so
recently, yeah.
a lot of good causes going on there. If you want to donate anything,
Yeah.
shoot Laura a message. I'm sure she'll happily
And,
let you know how to do
this
it.
is our podcast is about strongman particularly, but Laura is a great support to us, and she has done a bit of strong women.
She has,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
But she is,
Hated it.
yeah, she is like she is
Phenomenal
up there.
power.
Yeah, phenomenal power. One of the strongest
In the world.
females in the world.
Absolutely,
So
yeah, no doubt about
we
it.
have a great time to support her as well. So.
Yeah. And then we have the Ireland's qualifier going on, which is like Ireland, the Irish Strength Associations or Dash Ultimate Strongman, whatever you want to call it. Under 95, under 110.
Under 90, 105.
No, did he change it? Or is it still 95,
Oh,
110? He does
under
all the weight
95,
categories.
110. He does, yeah. Under 95, 110, yeah.
And then Republic of Ireland Strongest Man, Ultra Strong. There's like about 10 titles going on there.
Yeah, you got the Masters and Juniors.
Juniors and all sorts going on. So yeah, it's a qualifier for Ireland's Strongest Man. I'm not even 100% sure
who's doing it.
doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's this clash between like most of the top guys are doing Laura's competition. Like
You're missing a few guys to Laura's comp,
and
you don't have to do it because you're already qualified for it.
Sean's
qualified for Ireland.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he won't be there. Like, competing anyway.
No.
Gavin
Gavin's doing it. I
Doing
think Roy Hagan's doing it. Like is Matt McKeegan doing under 95 as well?
He was talking about it, but I don't know.
I think that's
he's supposed to be doing powerlifting meet though in Scotland or something.
He is, yeah, but he's still on about competing at this, like so. But
he might just do the 110s.
I don't know. I think he's on about going under 95s. Like
I
feel like that's like from what I've
Mm-hmm.
been seeing in the group chats. I feel like that's kind of like where it's going. I could be wrong, like, but that's what I've kind of picked up on it. Like.
I don't understand why someone who's at the top of his game in the 105s and competing, like podium to clash and everything. I don't understand why bother.
I think he just wants. I think he wants to beat Gavin. To be honest, I think I think that's what it really is. Like,
yeah, and like, yeah, sure. Like,
is that a good long-term goal though?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, like if I was Matt, I'm saying this. If you're listening, Matt,
yeah, like absolutely,
don't do it.
Yeah,
I think he should just focus on being the best 105 in the world because he's close. Like he's up there.
For sure, he almost podium 21. Fifth he came.
Fifth, yeah. And like he was on
so close.
podium at Clash this year as well.
Yeah.
But OSG World, so there is, to me, that's that'd be a far
better thing to keep chasing towards and focus. Yeah, personally, because I know like when you try to derail or anytime you've mentioned doing anything else, I'm like, no. You mentioned powerlifting last year, and I was like, no, Cilléin, that's just not happening. Yeah, I tend to just push you away from them.
Yeah.
We spoke about it before again, like staying focused on the main goal, the big picture, the big goal, and not to get derailed from that because it's very easy to do that, and then you find yourself in a trap of not making progress for years because of it.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, I'm actually. Is there athlete lists out there?
No athletes. Just to be honest, like the lads got 6 weeks notice for this competition.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's a bit of a mess. To be honest, like I'm not gonna hold back. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Like,
look, I've been vocal about this, and I've been a bold boy according to the rules of strongman and this qualifier. But I don't know. The information should be out there much longer. I think as far as when the event is on and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's very
there is no athlete list, right?
There's no athlete list. So I don't even know if there was an event page made up.
I think there was.
I think after they had told it, like, I think it was like 5 weeks out, an event page for me.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating because I know a lot of people who wanted to do it, but they can't do it because they just didn't get enough notice. Like, and it's just like how do they expect to get
numbers and how do you expect sports to grow?
I really fail to see their logic in doing this. And again, we've got some of the top guys now are going to be there because we got Laura's like so.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see if they get any phone calls coming closer to Ireland's Strongest Man, ask them to do the competition. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's a real shame, like
it is. Yeah,
it's a real shame. It's one of them things that really frustrates me about Strongman in Ireland, and like I have been vocal on this, so I know I should talk about it here again. I think it needs to be done better. And back to our last podcast, like it's one of them things that like I think promoters just need to be improving upon.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's just communication too. Like
big time.
Yeah, so all right. I didn't realize there wasn't even an athletes list out yet.
No.
I'm just having a quick look
because I kind of nothing popped up, so I wasn't sure about it. Okay, so I can't say too much on that.
I can't even either.
I'm going to go ahead and say Gavin's going to win the 95s.
Yeah.
If Matt does it, it'll be a great battle. Maybe Matt will win it, but I would say maybe Matt doesn't do 95s. Maybe he'll see sense because he's after doing a comp as well.
Yeah.
So Gavin 95s, Matt 110s.
I
don't even know who's doing
the opens. Like I think Ray Foley might be doing it. Like
Ray's very strong.
Ray doesn't understand how strong he is.
Yeah, because
Now,
I tell you the
look-
categories is the strongest man masters is in there as well. So you got Ireland strongest man qualifier, strongest man masters, 110s, 95s, and under 23s.
Yeah, there's no list.
No,
But looking
don't
at the
think so.
events, like Matt or Gavin could win the opens. Because if you compete 95 or 110, you're still in the
opens. Like
in the opens.
Yeah, you have a 350 super yoke, 15 by 15, 280 deadlift for reps, no suit, no figure eights, 140 farmers, 15 by 15, no turn, no drops. Press medley, 64 kilo dumbbell, 120 axle, 78 dumbbell, 140 log, and then bag to shoulder for 120 or 140 bag. You choose your weight.
Let's think back to the Strong Cup. Gavin bet everyone. He won the bag to shoulder.
Yep.
Smallest man there, lightest man there.
Yeah.
He had no issue
Did
with saying that.
you win the farmers?
Sean won the farmers because his grip is better with max resistance. But
Yeah.
that's a speed event.
Speed events, yeah.
Gavin's way faster.
So fast, man.
And
So fast.
an ECOSG
Yeah.
did there.
Oh,
with
like
the yoke.
Flying, like,
fucking
absolutely
savage.
flying.
And that's
So
a shit of a yoke.
I tip
it's
Gavin
lovely
to
looking
win
at it.
them 3 events.
Oh yeah, I would as well. Like,
And possibly the deadlift. He's a very good deadlifter.
Yeah. It's waiting
and
for
then
reps, like
the overhead. Maybe not. He's not. He'll have no problem saying he's not the best presser.
No.
Not bad by any means, but Gavin could win the.
He
Gavin
could.
could win the overall.
I like to see
as
it.
a
Like,
2 odd kilo person probably.
yeah.
We might have Kyle Scott in there as well, maybe.
Kyle
Possibly.
Scott. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. Why?
Oh, not Kyle Scott. What's that?
Kyle
Kyle McGowan.
Yeah, two
Sorry,
different-
Kyle.
Two different
I was like,
Kyles.
Kyle
I was like, that's not. That's.
I wouldn't mind. They don't even look alike.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, we should look at.
Very different sized humans.
Yeah.
Whatever.
McGowan eats Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, we have no list, lads. So
No,
that's
Not too sure.
Yeah, so
again speculating.
pure speculation, yeah, because we're not sure really. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps us up for another week, does it?
I think so.
We're talked out. Guys, if you have any topics you want us to talk about, don't hesitate on shooting them our way. Letting us know. We're always looking for more things to talk about. Just makes it easier when we get together on a Tuesday morning to try and figure out what we're going to do. Because we literally get in and it's like, who has a topic?
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about today? None of this is planned.
No. Wing it.
We are total winging it. Proper amateurs here.
We are really.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks a million, folks.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Bye.
Laters.
You busting for a piss, Cilléin?
Live stream.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck.